went for a mission trip to Kenya. I'm sure you all heard of Kenya, you know, the animals, the athletes in the Olympics. Obama's dad was a Kenyan and things like that. But how many of you have heard of microfinance? Yeah, very few people, 3 people in the room. So what is, okay. So my PhD, I will tell you what microfinance is. My PhD topic is extending microfinance outreach to very poor women in rural Kenya, in a place called Nyeri County. And how did it all begin? In 2015, I was volunteering with a church here, and I was their social media executive, and I was the organization, the charity is called Global Missions Ireland, and we used to organize missions to very many different countries, India to Haiti to all over the world. And so when the opportunity to travel to Kenya came up, I jumped up because that's my country. I hadn't been to Kenya because I left Kenya for a long while. Because I left Kenya in 1999 to study. I went to Germany, and I lived there for a while. And then my family, one by one, they immigrated to Canada. So majority of my family live in Canada. So when I had my own kids, when we want to go and see their grandparents, we tend to go to Canada. And people are like, "You're going to see your mom and dad in Canada." I'm like, "Yes, but I'm not Canadian, I'm Canadian." So anyway, so I also am a children's worker with this church, and so why I went on this mission trip? I went because we were going to a girls' home in Kenya where the girls had run away from early marriages. You'd find an 8-year-old married to a 40-year-old man, and that's for financial reasons, and there's so much poverty there. And also a lot of them had escaped FGM, female genital mutilation. So there was this refuge center for them. So we went to like minister to them, encourage them, and just tell them the world knows their plight, and you know, just encourage them in their lives so that they don't feel forgotten and lose heart. So when we were out there, it's a place called Narok, it's Masai land. We went to a place called Masai Mara. I don't know if you've heard of it. That's where we have all the big 5 lions roaming. They do come to Nairobi, which is city center. You've never seen a lion here in Cork. And we also, so we had to go and call people to this outreach that night. So we had to go to the villages and advertise our meeting for the night so that they could come and, you know, just listen. And, you know, it's boring without the TV or any sort of entertainment. So we called them, oh, we've come. There's a group from Ireland, there's a group from America, and it was really interesting. So that's where I went. So that was 16 years later, 2015, from 1989. So so while I was there, I was like, when we were in the villages, I was like, how come there's only women and children? And I was like, so I asked our guide, the tour leader, that why are there no men here? And he said, oh, the men don't normally live in the settlements. What they do is Maasai are travelers. Normally they're nomadic herdsmen, so they move from settlement to settlement. But now it's restricted because their population has exploded. But the men still go around looking for pastures for their cattle. So they would graze them all the way to Nairobi and sell the cattle, the cows, the goats, I don't know if they're sheep. And they would sell them on to all these places like this. There's a lot of meat eating. A pub like this, you find people with, you know, they have kilos of meat in front of them. So that's what they do, that's their livelihood. But the women and the children are left behind. In fact, the only men are the teenagers who, after some years, by the time they're in their 20s, they do as their parents did, their dads and their uncles. So I was like, okay, but how do these women then get something to eat? You know, like the men are gone all day, they're in the sunshine, it's so hot. And they're like, what they do is on market days, they would go and exchange goods. Barter trading is what it's called. And I was like, barter trading? Isn't that something that existed back in historical times before the colonialists came and into Kenya, into our daily lives. You know, people before, after barter trading, they became the cowrie shells, and then we got currencies at the end. And the man was like, that's what they have to do. And I came back home and I was like, how can I just be seated back here? And there are women wallowing in poverty, and maybe they, you can't produce anything. I can't sell my kilo of beans and you give me your chicken. It's not equitable. So I decided I have to do something about it. And I was, playing around with different topics in my head, and I had consultations with people. And at one point I took my topic to somebody, and he said, no, this cannot work. There's 4 different topics in this. I was thinking about transporting of goods to the market. I was thinking of food security was in my head, and I had to think about it. And I got all these documents, and I read them, and I came up with my topic. Because each document said, unfortunately, microfinance institutions do not extend their outreach to the deeper parts of the villages because it's not profitable. So why would you do business if they're not going to make a profit? So these women are very marginalized. They don't have access to banking like we do, walking to the AIB or Bank of Ireland or credit union. So that's how I came up with my topic. I approached UCC and 2 departments were interested in my topic, the women's department and the applied social sciences. And I decided to go with the social science department. And that's what I've been working on. And if you ask me, like I asked you at the beginning of my session, is what is microfinance? Well, it's when you get a loan without any collateral. If I go to the credit union and say I want a loan, they're going to look at how much I've saved with them, and maybe I can't exceed more than 4 times of what I have with them. So with microfinance, I give you money, and you don't have to give me anything. I just trust that you're going to pay me back. That's what microfinance is. It was started by a man called Mohammed Yunus. He's a Bangladesh man. He won the Nobel Peace Prize together with his bank, which is called the Grameen Bank, back in 2006. And this is because of his and his bank's efforts to, through microfinance, they created economic and social development from grassroots. So since its inception back in 1984, microfinance has spread worldwide. And microfinance institutions have developed market offerings. What he did is, he is he's an economics lecturer. He was an economics lecturer. Probably now he still does a few lectures in economics. But when Bangladesh got its independence, everybody was happy. We're going to now, everybody's going to have money. Everybody's going to, there's going to be a lot of economic prosperity for everybody. But as he was lecturing, he looked out of his window. He saw people coming from the villages, and these people had nothing on their, not much to eat, probably just the clothes on their back, and some of them had almost nothing. They were next to naked, and he said, this is not right. People, even people in the villages from the rural areas have to be able to get money. So he did this experiment where he got $27 and gave each villager the $27. And he told them, I'm just giving you this money, go and make do with it, and then you bring it back to me after some time. And these people, 100% of them, funnily enough, brought back the money. And that was the beginning of what he calls today's Grameen Bank. It's actually very successful, and it's there in Kenya as well. But it's called a microfinance bank. And the women have gained a lot of financial independence from it. And they're able to save for a rainy day, because everybody needs money, everybody needs an account, and we all know it. Even if I am able to grow my own food, build my own houses. Funny enough, Masai people in Kenya, they build their own houses using powder and sticks. I saw that firsthand myself in 2015. So, but at the end of the day, we all have those expenses that could stabilize your livelihood. It could be a wedding, it could be a funeral, it could be school fees for your children if they go on to third level college. knowledge. It could be anything. So microfinance institutions do provide all these benefits for the women, and today they've diversified, and now because of all the high, now they don't run them for charity as the original idea was, but what they do is they do charge interest rates, but the women now can buy shares in the microfinance institutions. In a country that's very patriarchal like Kenya, women did not have money for themselves, but now they have money, and these women are spending their own money. They can save it, they can transfer it. We have the mobile banking in Kenya. It's M-Pesa. It's the best in the world. I know it was developed by Vodafone, by the British BT. British Telecom, they created M-Pesa, where people transfer money. Go to any village, people transfer money to each other. That could never have happened years ago. The women invested. And to end my talk, I'm going to end to this fact. We know that when you educate a woman, you educate a village. And worldwide, women are likelier to buy goods that prosper their children, enhance their capabilities, and they devote more money than men, unfortunately, who devote it for their own pleasures. Women will think of their children first, then buying themselves a beverage, cigarettes, or any other worldly pleasures. Also, today is a day that marks International Women's Day. So I'm glad I'm talking about women, and my topic is on women and female empowerment. And I hope one day when you're drinking that drink, you'll think about people who are less fortunate than yourselves, and maybe do your own share and contribute to them. And also, before I finish, I'm going to be going to Kenya again when the funds are there to do collect data for my research project. Last year, I went on a scoping trip through the advice of my supervisors, because I hadn't been to Kenya since 1999, so I really didn't know much. I left Kenya when I was very young, and I didn't know much about banking, microfinance institutions. So I was encouraged to go on a scoping visit to see how the lab lies, and I did. And I went to our CBO, a central St. Joseph's CBO, community-based organization, and I have pictures to show. I did conduct a pilot to see how my questions would work, to see how we'll be able to do it the next time I'm there, also to build rapport with people there. And I'll give you pictures which will show me during my focus group session. That is before the meeting. I had to talk to the leaders in the CBO, so that's me having breakfast with them. And these are the women that came to the focus group session, and I was asking them the questions to see which questions work. So if you have any questions, I can take them now. Thank you.